Hey, fellow language educators, have you ever felt like your quizzes don't actually show what your students can do with the language? Do you find that your assessments focus more on memorization rather than real communication skills? If so, you're in the right place. In today's video, I'm going to show you 5 simple steps to transform your quizzes into proficiency-based assessments that actually measure what matters: communication and comprehension. And don't worry, this isn't some overwhelming overhaul of your grading system. These are small, practical changes you can make right now to see an instant impact. By the end of this video, you'll walk away with concrete strategies that will help you align your quizzes with proficiency goals and ensure that your students are developing real language skills, not just memorizing vocabulary lists. Sound good? Let's dive in. Before we even think about creating or modifying a quiz, we need to be crystal clear about what we're assessing. Traditional quizzes often focus on what students know, but proficiency-based assessments focus on what students can do with what they know. So strategy number 1, define your proficiency targets. Most language teachers are familiar with ACTFL proficiency levels: novice, intermediate, advanced, etc. Before designing a quiz, ask yourself, what proficiency level am I assessing? If you're teaching at the novice mid-level, then a quiz should measure whether students can communicate in short phrases, not just recall isolated vocabulary. Strategy 2, use can-do statements instead of structuring a quiz around, do they remember this word? Shift the focus to, can they use it in context? Frame your quiz questions around can-do statements like, I can describe what I do in my free time. I can order food in a restaurant. I can introduce myself and say where I'm from. This ensures that students are being assessed on what their ability to communicate rather than just their ability to recall. Strategy 3, use backward design. Think about the real-world skill you want students to demonstrate. Then work backward to design a quiz that allows them to showcase that skill. For example, instead of a vocabulary matching section on food, have students write a dialogue ordering in a restaurant. Here's a quick win. Take a quiz you already have and tweak one question so that it measures communication rather than memorization. It's a small step that makes a big difference. Proficiency-based quizzes should look less like traditional tests and more like real-life language use. That means we need to rethink how students demonstrate their knowledge. Strategy number 1, create real-world scenarios. If you want to assess a student's ability to talk about their family, don't just ask, write 5 sentences about your family. Instead, frame it as a real-world situation. You're introducing your family to a new friend. Write a short introduction. Imagine you're filling out an online bio for a host family. Describe yourself in 4 to 5 sentences. By grounding your assessments in real communication, you make them more meaningful and more engaging. Another strategy: incorporate cultural contexts. Let's say you're covering food vocabulary. Instead of asking students to translate cheese into Spanish, have them analyze a menu from a Spanish-speaking country and answer questions about it. This helps them interact with authentic materials, not just memorize words. And lastly, use multiple formats. Not all students express proficiency in the same way. Try mixing up your quiz format with listening tasks, where students hear a dialogue and answer comprehension questions, speaking responses, where they're recording a 30-second answer to a prompt, writing tasks, responding to an email or writing a text message. And here's a quick win. Take just one quiz question and reword it as a real-life task. Instead of write the past tense of these verbs, say, write a diary entry about what you did last weekend. Small change, huge impact. Students should be actively involved in assessing their own progress. Self-assessment builds metacognition and encourages growth. So start by using self-evaluation checklists. After a quiz, ask students to reflect on their performance by answering, Which question did you feel most confident about and why? Which question challenged you the most? What could help you improve? Then add some peer feedback sessions. Pair students up after a quiz and have them discuss their answers. Not only does this reinforce learning, but it also encourages them to see assessments as a learning tool, not just a score. And finally, build portfolios. Instead of just returning quizzes with a grade, have students collect them in a portfolio where they track their progress over time. And here's a quick win for you. Add one self-reflection question at the end of your next quiz. For example, what was easy for you? What was hard? This simple step shifts students from passive test takers to active learners. Before we move on, if you're curious about your proficiency in teaching with comprehensible input, I've got something for you. Take the CI Proficiency Quiz at mm.us/CI quiz. It'll help you identify where you are on your CI journey and how to grow. How we grade and give feedback is just as important as the quiz itself. First, you'll want to use descriptive feedback. Instead of marking an answer wrong, tell students what they need to do to improve. Instead of incorrect, try using full sentences. Remember, verbs must agree with the subject. Next, offer a growth-oriented approach. If a student struggles with an assessment, give them a chance to revise instead of just assigning a final grade. And finally, highlight what they did well. Always point out something positive to build confidence and motivation. And here's your quick win. On your next quiz, instead of just marking answers right or wrong, write one comment per student that encourages improvement. All right, we've covered a lot today, but remember it all comes down to small, manageable changes. Pick just one of these steps and try it in your next quiz. What's one small change you can make in your next quiz to make it more proficiency-based? Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear your ideas. And if you want more ways to make assessments engaging, check out my next video on fun language games to transform your classroom. Happy comprehensible input!